How are you?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
Good, good. I'm excited for today. We have a special guest on here, and this is going to be a fun one because it's kind of on the athletic side of things. Not only has this guest been in athletics his whole life, but he's made a career out of it. And if that wasn't hard enough to do, he decided to build a business right during COVID that has, and the business has to do with interacting with people. So it was probably a fun time for him. Looking forward to hearing from him about what's going on with that. This is like really going to be catered to, if you are in athletics, you want to be in the athletic world, you want to start your own business in that side of things. This is going to give you some great insight into the goods, the bads, what has been successful, what hasn't been, and kind of what he's gone through in his journey for this. So, welcome, Justin Barchus. How are you, man?
Good. How you guys doing?
Good, good. So you have a lengthy resume, so I'm not going to cover it all, but we'll go over it later on. But you are currently
hmm
the head baseball coach for Central Catholic High School. You're
Yep.
the strength and conditioning coach for Sherwood football,
hmm
running all sorts of programs for up to 400 or more than 400 athletes. And if you weren't busy enough, you decided in 2020, is that right, to start a gym in Tigard. So yeah,
Yeah.
you're like, "Hey, I this isn't hard enough, let's keep going." So,
Yep.
I'm super excited to get into it. If you just kinda wanna start, like, I think you have an interesting journey of how you got here. If you could
Mhm.
kinda lead us on where you kinda got started, how this kind of, morphed into, "I just wanna work in the field," to, "Now I wanna start a business in the field," as well as continue on in the athletic world.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I think for me, after I finished playing baseball in college and baseball and sports all growing up, right? So, trying to fill that void of competitiveness. I think that's the kind of the way that I relieve stress is the competitive nature of things. And so trying to find what that was for me, it kind of led me into CrossFit. Um, that's where it started. And I loved the competitive nature of it. I didn't so much love going into like a 24-hour fitness and, uh, and just working out, doing the same thing every day by yourself. And so this with the community and the camaraderie, um, and again, the ability to push yourself with other athletes, I think really pulled me in. Um, and from there I was an athlete for a while, and I was doing other things. I was still coaching baseball, but I was doing other things professionally, and then kind of started coaching in the gym just because of my previous experience, and got an opportunity to do that at CrossFit Wilsonville for the first time. Coach there, kind of again that when CrossFit boomed in I'd say 2000, probably 12 to 2018. I was a big part of that. So as far as local athletes going to regional events and things like that, and we had a great group of people at Wilsonville, coaches and athletes wise, that really made it a fun time to be a part of it. Ultimately, I think, as I got more and more into it, my vision, you, as a coach and as an athlete, you kind of learn things like I might do this differently. I would do this the same. I think the biggest thing for me was I love the community aspect of it. And I thought, what's the next step naturally in this? Am I just going to be a CrossFit coach for forever? Am I going to, go and travel around the United States and be a college strength and conditioning coach? At that point, I was looking towards starting a family, so that's not necessarily super conducive to having kids and starting a family when you're year by year, as far as what location you're going to be at. And so I thought with the opportunity arose that I was going to kind of take the plunge and go for it. And ultimately, again, like you said, we opened our doors March 1st of 2020. So 21 days before we were shut down.
Ah,
Wow.
So the first 21 days were cool,
Wow.
um, but I think, and we'll get into this more probably, but I think ultimately what brought me into it was just the community aspects of it. Exercising in general and maintaining a healthy lifestyle is challenging for a lot of people. And being able to bring the community aspect to it, show up every day with people that are going to hold you accountable, people that are fun to be around. If you're going to do something that is a challenge, you might as well do it with other people that are trying to push towards the same thing. And so trying to kind of put my spin on it. And also a little bit of my background too is in more of the science of strength conditioning versus just the CrossFit side of it per se. So I kind of wanted to have that tilt to it as well, because that's the part that I love is the science and the programming of it.
So tell me a little bit about. Oh, go ahead, Cody.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say, just on that part there. That part is what's really interesting to me, because I have. You can probably tell I'm very fit looking. I worked out
first thing I thought.
Right, yeah, exactly. With a very aerodynamic
He was gonna wear his tank top, but he decided not to wear the tank top to flaunt everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Pat McAfee.
Right. But that part, the science part of it is very interesting to me because I never, like, growing up, similar to you and Joe, I think, like, played sports. As you get older, you do work out more and you want to try to build muscle and gain strength. But I don't know that I was ever really taught. I went through the actions a lot. I went through the motions and I got stronger, but I never really actually knew what I was doing. And if I could have, hindsight's 2020, go back and really actually understand what to do. I think that plays such a big part too, because when you start to get burnt out because you're realizing that I'm not gaining the muscle that I want to be, or I'm not achieving this goal, and I'm running on the treadmill, I'm lifting weights, I'm doing all these things, but if you're not actually being educated on it. So I think that's big for people to really understand.
Yeah, I think, to be honest with you, I don't think a lot of people really knew what they were doing back, 10, 15 years ago, strength conditioning wise. I think there was a very specialized group of people that did as far as programming and science goes. But I think the industry's come a long way in the last 15 years, from the old bodybuilding kind of meathead, perception of it, right? To now it's like, well, there's sports performance where, hey, I'm getting ready for sport specific things. There's competitive fitness, whether it's bodybuilding, whether it's CrossFit, whether it's Olympic lifting. And then there's everyday health. I want to be able to lift my grandkids up. I want to be able to play with my kids. I want to be able to do that stuff. And I think people struggle with working through those phases. Kind of like you said, we're in our early 20s. It's, I want to be fit and get muscles and, get chicks and all that stuff. And then, then what? Right. So it's, you kind of move through that phase and it's like, well, what am I doing this for now? Like, am I going to impress my 3-year-old daughter? Like, who am I impressing? So I think
because she won't be impressed, just so you know.
No,
based on having
she's not.
kids, like they're never impressed.
No, Raleigh is not impressed either. So unless it involves a princess dress or something, she's not impressed. So
your weightlifting skills don't matter to her.
No. But yeah, so I think you're right. I think there's a lot of people that are seeking guidance in that, and I think it's undervalued. I think at a lot of places, it's kind of the old, car mechanic. They want to keep you coming back, right? So they're going to use all these fancy words and try to distract you from what's actually happening. And there are people out there like that. And I think it doesn't do them any good for only me to understand it. So being able to communicate it as well as to why we're doing everything. I tell all of our athletes, if I can't give you an answer to why we're doing something, a very detailed answer, then I don't know what I'm doing, So, and I think that gives them some security as far as, strength conditioning is like anything else. You can agree to disagree with how the periodization works or how different stuff works. But if there's reasoning behind it, then it's valuable to people because at least they know that you are invested in their health and actually trying to do things to make them better.
For sure. I think that's cool because it's, like we said, it's like back in high school, there was like a weight bench and a squat rack. It was like, that was all you did. And it was like to try to, in high school, it's like, how much could you bench and how much could you squat? That was it.
Your
like,
1 rep max. What's my 1 rep max?
And Yeah, and
Yeah.
so it's cool to see, I think, maybe because we're interested in it, but I do see at least a somewhat of a trend of people kind of more of the functional fitness, the things that
Hmm.
to survive, not just to
Yep.
be, strong or look good or whatever, but also to be able to function through through your life for a long period of time
Just get
versus
out of
that kind
bed.
of
Yeah.
yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah,
Exactly.
play with your
Yeah.
kids, do that sort of stuff. That's pretty cool.
Hmm.
Harkening back to kind of it sounds like you started in baseball, correct? So
Yep.
and you moved up. Can you talk a little bit about your baseball career leading up to some of the baseball jobs that you have? Kind of how were they? What was that like getting into the baseball side of things? Because it sounds like, and correct me if I'm wrong, that you're more along the the fitness side of things versus the baseball, but you also do baseball.
Hmm.
So yeah, how does that all
Yeah.
incorporate? How'd you get there, and what happened there?
Yeah. So, I got my, I played baseball in college. I got my first baseball job when I was coaching an 18U team, so kind of like a travel ball team that used to travel Arizona, all over the place and play in big major tournaments with high school kids. Ended up getting my first job in the West Coast League, which is a college wood bat league here on the West Coast. In when I was 24 years old. Um, did not have any guidance. Kind of just fell into it, and probably wasn't qualified enough to do it. But yeah, there I was in the middle of Klamath Falls, Oregon. With a bunch coaching a bunch of guys that were 1 and 2 years younger than me. Seniors in college and stuff like that. Um, and and I think that experience, I learned a lot early on, kind of trial by fire, a lot of failure, and a lot of I think things that help me while running a business now and in baseball throughout my career is you number one you have to be who you are. People will see through it if you're not who you truly are, um, and your players will see through it. Number two, if you believe in it, you have to commit to it, even if it
Mm.
gets you fired eventually. You won't be successful if you're trying to please everybody, trying to you care what everybody else thinks. Um, it's kind of a man in the arena mentality as far as like it's really easy to sit on the sidelines and give opinions about certain things. It's really hard to be in it and balance all of the stuff that comes with being a head coach of at that time a college program, now for me a high school program. But you have to again commit to who you are, commit to what you believe in. And we struggled, we failed. We were at that time we had the worst record in the history of the West Coast League. Um, so it was a long summer in the middle of Klamath Falls, but learned a ton. And then from there, I coached the Gresham Gray Wolves, which were in the West Coast League for 3 years, I believe. We were much better throughout the years. And then, probably familiar to a lot of the listeners, I was the head coach of the Portland Pickles for five years, I believe. COVID years kind of make
Love
it
it.
weird in there, but yeah.
Such a great
So,
name too. The Pickles.
yeah, and it's a fun environment. Anybody who's been to a game knows it's kind of more of a block party than a baseball game. um, but yeah, and I think when I got there, I think that's when I finally felt like I was ready. I think the baseball world, much like anything else, you kind of have to earn your respect. And I think at times early on, um, people were kind of like, "Who's this young guy? Like this guy's 26. He's whatever." And I think at that time we had some success early on with the Pickles. Had the best record in the league. One of my years, the best record that the Pickles have ever had. Um, and it really, I felt like I was prepared to run an organization like that, where I was not prepared, when I was 24.
Yeah.
So I think for baseball coaches or any coaches really, I think just sticking with your principles, committing to what you believe in, um, and sometimes it'll be good enough and sometimes it won't. I think in society we're kind of given this fallacy that if we try our best, everything's going to be okay. You can try your best a lot and you can still fail. But if you're committed to who you are, then at least you tried your best. Like, at least it was what you had, the best you had in that moment. So yeah, I was with the Pickles, and then decided, got an opportunity from a couple high schools, and decided the infrastructure at Central Catholic was that which you could win.
Mm-hmm.
And and at the time I was kind of looking to move back away from the college stuff, and the, anybody who knows anything about the West Coast League, you're in central Canada, all over Washington. Like, I did not see anybody. I did not have any holidays. It's June 1st to to mid to late August, depending how you do. And every day at a home game, you're at the field at noon, and you get home probably about 12:30 in the morning. So,
man, just a grind.
Yeah, you'd look forward to road trips. So it's, and riding buses for 10, 12 hours, the stories that I could tell on that. But it's, I was looking to step back, slow down the pace a little bit. We decided to have kids. So that was not going to be conducive to, my wife would not love me being gone for 5, 6, 7, 8 days at a time, with a baby in the house. So did that, loved where I'm at right now. We've built the program up to a really good spot, and look to continue building that up. But ultimately, I think, if I was to give any advice, I would say be yourself, be where your feet are. Don't be looking for the next job or the next big thing or where am I going to be in 10 years. Just coach in that moment and really enjoy the process and the journey.
That's great. What made you go from and you're still in the coaching, but what did you see as a business opportunity in the gym, and kind of what made you say, hey, I could do this versus, like just joining a CrossFit gym? What made you think that I need to be a part of this and build a business based on it?
Yeah, I think my unique ability. So one thing that I did do in the middle of all this in 2015 is I was at the University of Illinois with the football program doing strength and conditioning. And I think I saw there a really cool opportunity, but kind of like I said, I wasn't really in a spot where I wanted to travel all around the country to obscure little towns for 6, 7, 8 years, hoping that you get the opportunity where you stick. So I got a really cool opportunity there to learn from some really intelligent coaches and see kind of what that looked like, training sport specific things at a really high level. And I think I provide a unique ability in this specific community, in the sense that, I run a community gym for everyday people, but my specialty is in the sport specific realm. So, I thought that I could provide some uniqueness there. But I also didn't want to just close it down to say, like, I only train high level athletes or D1 athletes or this or that. And I also wanted to create my own brand for what I'm about. I think anytime you represent somebody else, it's not necessarily a true representation of who you are. And I thought that I had enough skills to be able to provide different things to different people. But I wanted to represent myself in that sense. So I think that stepping out of the baseball realm into the strength conditioning realm, I always trained our athletes in baseball. But I think being able to organize and run programs helped me really move into organizing and running a gym, a community, that kind of thing, and understanding the dynamics that come with that, as far as different personalities, different needs, different concerns, different complaints, that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's interesting too, because having the background that you've had with, a lot of it being baseball, but a lot of it being different teams, different scenarios, you learn so much to be able to apply towards a business like this, right? Where you start to kind of gather information from all different people and perspectives, and now it's kind of put you where you want to be. I know you've got 2 young kids.
Yep.
Is that right? Okay.
Yep. Yeah, Raleigh and Bodie. Raleigh's 3.5. Bodie is 8 months.
Okay. Are they at the gym all the time?
Oh yeah. Yep. No.
True family.
Cool.
That's true. Raleigh grew up in the gym more so than probably Bodie. Bodie's there he's there 2-3 times a week, but Raleigh grew up in the gym because it was COVID when she was a baby. So we weren't allowed to go anywhere else besides our gym. So yeah, no, they've both grown up in the gym, don't mind plates dropping, loud noises, anything like that. So
that's cool. And how did,
yeah.
tell us a little bit about how that went with, starting a business. We've seen lots of businesses fail through the COVID years, and especially ones that focus on interacting with other people. How did you guys navigate that when that first happened? What did you go through, and kind of how you came out the other end?
Yeah, I think it definitely killed some momentum of like, new gym, we're open, we have all these plans. We were fortunate to have a client base already that I had coached for a long time that decided to come to the gym with us. And then, that hit. And I think what it forced me to do is adapt. I have a lot of social media skills. Personally, I'm not a social media guy. I don't like social media that much. You don't have a choice as a business owner, as you guys know. And so separating your personality in your business culture building to your own personal stuff is important. And so creating that identity became my focus through social media, through figuring out how to do graphic design, figuring out how to do all kinds of different stuff technologically. Like I developed and created our whole website. Just that, I think it made me adapt in that sense that you need to figure out how to do this stuff. You need to figure out how to film and how to create video, how to do graphic design, how to do all that stuff, because otherwise, like you said, you're going to go under. Like it's an in-person business. There's no in-person opportunity. So you kind of had to figure out, what's my angle, and let's go learn, let's go fail, let's go try again. And now I look back and I look at those skills that I was able to build during that time, and they're so valuable in just today's society in general. I think people with the ability to use anything online, social media, any of that stuff technologically, are so far ahead of those that are kind of in the old school of everything's in person, everything's face to face. We may not like it, but it's the way it is. So, we have to adapt to it. And I think it was a blessing in disguise in that sense that it made me do that. Otherwise I would not have. That would not have been my main focus. So
yeah, and and you see that a lot in every field, is that the social media, whether you like it or not, is here. And that's Cody and I picked up on that a while ago. But there's agents, there's people, there's lenders that are like, no, it's a fad. And it's like, unfortunately it's not. You can keep thinking that, but there was something that we said that in the real estate world, in 10 years, if you are not adapting or adjusting with AI, then you're not going to be an agent in 10 years. So it's just interesting how that goes. But it's like you said, a blessing in disguise to say, so you guys couldn't have people in there. So did you just pivot? Did you do online courses? Did you do, I know you started focusing on social media, but how did you do that? Or did you just kind of slow the business down and say, let's focus on things that I can do now?
So we were really fortunate that we had a bunch of people that were committed to us and willing to continue to pay memberships through that time. So I have to mention them, that's a big piece of it, was that they were willing to still pay into the community, understanding that there would be no community if they didn't otherwise, we tried to offer as much as we possibly could. There's such a unique balance. I think, like you guys know, when you're a business owner, you have to take your personal hat off, and understand that there are different beliefs and different cultures and different things that you have to be open and welcome to. That obviously was a very tough time for those that had their very strong beliefs and wanted to stick to those, whatever they were. And for us, it wasn't hard for me, but it was definitely a thing where, with the COVID thing, there's people that said, no, you need to shut down. You need to respect the rules. There were people that said, no, open up, screw them, screw masks, all that stuff. And so for us, it was a unique balance of trying to make people feel safe that wanted to be there, but also not just blatantly saying screw you and putting a target on ourselves and doing that thing. We navigated in and out of that stuff. We opened our gym outdoor only when we were allowed to do that. Oddly enough, gyms ended up one of the main targets in the state of Oregon for some reason. Gyms were like the last thing to be allowed to open. And we're definitely one of the kind of the show ponies for, hey, look what we're doing. We're saving everybody. And I don't know why gyms and restaurants kind of got that deal. So we were closed for longer than I would like to, but we tried to adapt as much as possible. We have a big open space. We have garage doors that give big airflow. So I never felt like we were putting anybody in danger. But man, we worked out in mass. I worked out in mass. It was terrible. But
it was bad.
It was not awesome.
You're just like giving me PTSD thinking about it right now.
Right.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It was tough. And like, that's like, it was kind of ironic with politics aside. It was kind of ironic that the place to make you healthy was the place they shut down the longest, which seems odd to me, but whatever. We won't go deep into that.
No,
but,
we won't get into that. But it was definitely a challenge, but we navigated in and out of it. I can't remember exactly the timeline of everything, but we tried to give them as many opportunities as possible. We wrote online workouts for them. We rented out equipment to athletes. We switched the equipment so people could use different things. We did videos. We did Zoom workouts where everybody got together on their Zoom and in their garage did the workout together just to have some sense of community. But the reality is you're not going to thrive in that environment. So it's just trying to hang on long enough to where we can keep everybody engaged, I think. Sure. But the problem is you just didn't know what long enough was, You just didn't know if it was going to be 2 months or 2 years or 20 years. Like at that point you had no idea.
Yeah. Well, crazy. Right in the middle of it too. It was the unknown of like, is it ever going to go back to where how it was before, even just a version of that? But so obviously you have your wife as somebody who's your main support person, but do you have somebody or a group of people that you would say have kind of been good mentors for you, like from the beginning of building up the business or getting it going till now? Like, do you have people in your life that are kind of your support team, people that you can go to for problems, solutions, support, any and all that stuff?
Yeah, I think, it changes depending on what it is, but I think we brought over a bunch of coaches that I had coached for a long time. So it was really valuable to have those people that knew kind of how I operate things and how I think and those kind of things. So we had a group of coaches. We still have a lot of them, but they went through what I went through as far as the experience. We kind of went through the fitness experience together at Wilsonville or other places and shared experiences. So it was easy to kind of bounce things off of them in the sense that they know kind of what why I'm asking that question. We had, I call them the flag bearers for your culture. We had, we've had at times up to 18 coaches, but we had probably 6 or 7 that I had known for a long time. I really trusted. And they were super valuable in building the culture in the sense of they would give me honest feedback. They had been in the fitness industry for a while. They had seen different perspectives of it. But they also understood what kind of my vision for what was right and what was wrong, building it forward. And then I have, people that, like my dad, who owns a financial firm in Lake Oswego, who is just run a business for a long time, who from that side of it definitely can give me feedback and I bounce things off of. Because I think you need people that are removed from the everyday, that they can give you opinions that they're not connected emotionally to, because a gym culture is very emotionally attached, right? There's relationships. I call it a middle school lunchroom. It's a middle school lunchroom for adults. So there's a lot of emotional things that go on in there. It's people's social outlet. So getting opinions that aren't emotionally attached to things is extremely valuable. So there are definitely, a few people that I bounce things off of that are never in the gym,
Mm-hmm.
So tell us a little bit about Kraken, how it
Mm-hmm.
differs from, say, a 24-hour fitness, and also I think what you're probably either disagree fully or not, but I think there is a hesitancy for the average person, or the or the overweight person, or the person that doesn't feel like they're fit, to come into a gym in general.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess go on a little bit about what makes Kraken different, or what sort of training programs that you do versus what just walking into Joe Schmuck gym,
Right.
and also kind of how you kind of facilitate people that are nervous about it, people that don't know
Mm-hmm.
how to work out, and walking into a gym, as is intimidating when you see the
Yeah.
meatheads, you see the people lifting, and you're like, I'm not even close, and I don't know if I can do this. So
No, so Kraken is, it's a general fitness gym. It's not a CrossFit gym, from the sense of it follows the CrossFit methodology as far as how they operate classes in an hour-long timeline. But separated from that, we're more geared towards, like we had talked about previously, everyday fitness, trying to do things that we're going to replicate in our everyday life. We do a lot of different stuff. So we'll do like forms of gymnastics or forms of weightlifting, but everything is scalable that we do. It's written in the programming. You don't have to like go up and raise your hand and say, "Coach, I'm not good enough. What do I do?"
Mm-hmm.
It's actually written in the programming every day so that people don't feel left out, feel like they are programmed for. But it's ultimately, a gym culture that kind of prides itself on community, being there to support each other. We did the math, 64% of our athletes are 40 or over.
Oh, wow.
And I think, and I think when you see the really, that's kind of what CrossFit has gotten, is that you see the Rich Fronings, you see the really elite athletes, and you think everybody's like that, and it's just not the case. And that's the same thing with our gym. We have some really, really fit athletes, but I like to think that the rising tide raises all boats, as opposed to drowns people, and that's kind of what we're about. Is we just try to inspire each other, and if you come in with the mentality of I want to get better, like I truly want to get better, whether that's you want to go from here to here, or you think you're going to go from here to here, then you're in the right spot, because we're all going to support each other. Again, it's scalable to everybody. The advice that I would give the person that come in for an extended period of time. So like we do a free week of classes. Number one, I want you to get the vibe for kind of the gym. A lot of places do one day, right? But I don't think you can really get a vibe as far as what a gym is and whether you're going to fit there in one day. But the biggest thing is to get them coming back after 1 day or 2 days. You're going to be sore. It's going to be uncomfortable. But if you come back for a week, if you come back for 2 weeks, and then you decide it's not for you, then that's okay. But I think that would be my advice to somebody who's intimidated, somebody that's concerned about, is this the right spot for me? Whether it's our gym or whether it's another gym, give it time and see if it's uncomfortable for anybody going into any situation that they don't know. They don't know people, they don't know the setting, they don't know the environment. And so I think just understanding that if you give it a week and it's still just aren't sure, then okay. But that would be my advice to those that are nervous and intimidated coming in. Number one, you're not, at our gym at least, you will not be looked down upon because of where you're at in your fitness journey. And number two, just give it a shot, like a real shot. And if it doesn't work out, then you got a free week of fitness, and you kind of have at least a better idea of what you're looking for and what you're not looking for. But yeah, it definitely gets that bad rap of, well, one person, I see one or two people doing this, handstand walks or handstand push-ups or ring muscle ups, and you think, well, I'm never going to do that. That's not me. Like, what am I doing here? That's not what happens. That's the 1%. And every gym has that. Every gym has the 1%. I don't walk into 24-hour fitness, and see the guy benching, 505 and think that, well, I have to bench 505 to come in here. So, but I guess going back to what we do, we have group classes all throughout the day. It's all the same programming throughout the day. So whether you come to the 5 a.m. or you come to the 6:30 p.m., you're going to get the same class. You're going to get a coach in every class that's going to lead you through every step. They have scaling for every movement. They're going to make you feel comfortable, walk you through everything. And then it's programmed out for you as well. So you go to 24-hour fitness and you ask for a personal coach, you ask for personal programming, and you ask for a gym membership every day of the week. It's going to run you up towards $600, $700 a month, maybe more. We offer that for a lot less. And we offer community. Most people at 24-hour fitness just throw their headphones in and ignore you. So that's kind of what we're about.
And that's big too, from my experience. I mean, most of my life of going to the gym has been, I'd say 75% of it has been more of the put my headphones in, go do my workout, not talk to anybody. I don't, I'm a social person, but I'm also not trying to hang out at the gym for 4 hours talking and getting to know people. But I have been in an environment where it was like what you have, and it makes such a huge difference, because now you're making connections, you're struggling through this workout with somebody else, and you can watch them progress and encourage them, and you get the same from other people. It's a very different feeling than just going to the gym. And I haven't been to your gym, but just the overall kind of experience that I've had in that, it is a community. I mean, there's a bond that you make with people when you're, regardless of what it is, when you're struggling and you're in pain with somebody else and they're feeling the same pain. Like, you build a bond. Same thing with sports or whatever it is. So I can speak from my own experience how much of a different experience you get out of it. Not only just the physical nature of your muscles and your body improving, but being able to have that. I think that really helps to encourage people too, because if my friend that's always here with me is not here, I'm going to follow up with them, be like, dude, where were you at? And you're not going to get that at the standard gym where you're just going in at whatever time you can. So I think that's cool. I think that's a good encouragement for people.
Yeah. And I always tell people, kind of a funny fact is, 5 of my 9 groomsmen I met at a gym, like at either CrossFit Wilsonville or at another gym that I was a part of that community. So, it's, again, you develop strong bonds there, because I mean, if you go every day or 4 days a week, I mean, how many people other than the people you work with do you see 4 or 5 days a week, So,
and on a social level and on a more casual level than your coworkers or family or things like that.
Yeah.
So,
right.
Well, now that everyone's pumped up, Justin, tell us a little bit about how someone can get a hold of you guys, get a hold of Kraken, get in the gym. Tell us whatever you want to say to get people over to you.
Yeah. No, you can go to our website, www.krakenstrength.com. You can also find it on our social media, Kraken_strength. And through the website, you can sign up for your free week. It's right on the main site on the top. You can also learn on the website more about kind of what we offer. We offer group classes. We offer the individualized programming, if that's what you prefer. We offer sport specific training. We even have started our corporate wellness program that we're going to continue to work on, for office spaces and people that kind of want to integrate their fitness into their work. So you can find all of the information on there. You can find all about our coaches, and you can sign up, quick, easy link through the main page of our website to get signed up for a free week, and you can kind of see what it's about. You can see what the programming is on Monday for the entire week, so you can figure out, what you're looking forward to.
That's awesome, man. Well, thank you for being on. I know you got stuff to do, so I don't want to keep you. I have like a billion more questions, but maybe we'll have you on another time. But thank you for coming on. Thank you for showing us that information. And if you do want that sort of fitness program, Justin's a great a great contact for that. Kraken Strength's a great resource for you. So go to that website and check it out. But yeah, thanks again, Justin. And yeah, thanks, Cody. And we'll chat with you guys later.
Yeah, awesome. Really appreciate it, Justin.
Yep. Thanks, guys.
All right. We'll see ya.